Hello, everyone. We are here today with Karel Mc Intosh. She's one of the inviteCHANGE graduates who has had the experience of working with us, working with our coaches, and today we're going to be finding out from her how the work she's done with inviteCHANGE has shaped how she helps clients, how she shows up in her business, herself. She's been through a powerful development journey. But let's not just take our word for it. Let's hear it from Karel Mc Intosh. Karel, please tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm from the Caribbean. I live in Trinidad and Tobago, so I'm very much an island person. I love communication. I've always loved communication. It's one of my natural giftings, and I've always felt the call to work in that field. And that ultimately led to me realizing that coming from a marketing background, marketing is essentially about understanding people, understanding humans, what gets them to tick. And I applied that background that I had in marketing to broadening my approach with communication and realizing that it wasn't just about tools and tactics, but really about who people are. So for me, I've always wanted to use communication as a way to help people to find their personal power and ability to express themselves.
That's brilliant. I love that. So I'm curious, what led you to leveling up? What was the moment that you decided I need to work with some organization, level up my skills? Like, what was the turning point?
I think it was a moment of clarity that I had. I've always, from time to time over the years, I would glance at coaching, education, look at the ICF, and in 2022, I had COVID and I was down for a while and I had free time. And in that moment, I said, my clients have moved everything into the next year. I have time to focus on me, to pour into me. And so I decided to start my coaching education journey. And from there, coaching is, I would say going on a coaching education journey is addictive because it's so transformational.
It is. It's one thing leads you to another and another. And, once you get into this habit of creating much higher impact, then what you start off with, coaching education journeys can really transform you and open up so many doors that some people don't even know exist.
True.
So as you were going through, there are many coaching education programs that you could have chosen. What was it about inviteCHANGE that stood out to you? What made you feel like we were the right fit for you to come to for your learning journey?
It was experiencing the CEO Janet Harvey's training at an ICF chapter event. I had discovered inviteCHANGE when I was first looking at coaching education. And the thing about coaching is when you don't know what coaching is as yet, you don't necessarily know what you need from the journey. And so I had selected an option that was really an express route to getting a certification in executive coaching, not knowing what coaching was. Additionally, when I saw 10 months at first for the coaching education, every week I said, I do not have that time. But then I was fortunate enough to attend this session. It was on team coaching that Janet led for an ICF chapter, and it was so rigorous. I love rigorous material. I love analytical material, something that says that a lot of thought was put into this, and it really illuminates the topic for you. Added to that, separate from Janet being, Janet, having all of this experience, being what I call a coaching OG, former ICF president, etc. Janet herself as a person embodies coaching. She's rigorous in terms of you get robust education, but she's also warm. She's empowering. She challenges you. She celebrates you. And all of these components are so important for building yourself as a coach. And when I looked at the Invite Change channel and I looked at and I started to understand what generative wholeness was about, I felt a kinship in that, because that is what I've been trying to achieve with training that I do.
Brilliant. It's an experience getting to see Janet live. I was with her in Riyadh a few months ago. Last month. So it was quite an experience, and I'm sure it definitely opened something inside of you to consider. So let me ask you this: as you went through that, like, how did you? In comparison, I mean, there are other competitors of ours who have much shorter duration when it comes to their courses. So, what finally made you say, no, I'm in this and I'm going to do this the full 10 months? Like, what was the decision point?
It was just that experience of that webinar series that she led, and I recognized that this was robust. This really illuminated, not just, it wasn't just about how to do coaching or how to coach and what to consider. It was also about who do you need to be as a coach in order
Yes.
to support teams and individuals with who they want to be. The other part of it is that I was searching for, at that time it was mastery. Now I'm very much into artistry, but I'm the kind of person who, when I do something, I for myself want to have integrity with that. I want to know that I personally feel prepared and able to support whatever shows up for a team or an individual. And so I recognize that this 10-month experience really was a commitment to that. And, it became the thing I looked forward to every week. And I still look forward to, because I'm in another program now. But for those 2 hours a week, I felt so poured into. And also, it was a container and a space for me to also share, to grow, to realize things. And, in coaching for clients, it's about their commitment to their journey, their commitment, and creating really a cadence, a rhythm of just showing up and doing the work. Sometimes you feel as if, oh, I don't know if I've gotten it as yet, but just doing that at a regular pace, it does something for you internally to transform. It's like, cocoon to butterfly to butterfly, right? And so for me, it gave me that space to really sit, settle, integrate, learn, and then make it my own. And I love that about Invite Change. They give you the firm foundation, principles, and processes for coaching. And then they also create that space. And in the midst of that, you are creating your space for what does it sound like in your voice? What does it sound like in your world? I am from the Caribbean, right? And the Caribbean has many different countries, many different cultures. We're similar in some ways, different in other ways. When I'm coaching a client who is from Jamaica, I learn new terms that I didn't know about before. And it's a cultural exchange as well. And so for me, with Invite Change, it really was the depth of the program, and just how it also made me feel and how it made me grow.
Amazing. I love the integrity piece you mentioned, because I believe there are programs that you could jump into and get all of the information, but how you process that, how you turn that into a skill set, how you harness and then effortlessly implement it out there with your clients, with the people that you're impacting. I've seen personally, just going off topic for a second, I've seen personally, like, people can have the best support and they can have the best information available to them, but if they don't have the confidence in what they're executing, ultimately it's going to fall flat. So my next question is, in Invite Change, we often talk about using tension as a catalyst for transformation. How did that idea show up for you personally as you went through the program? Like, what mindset, mental shifts did you experience, which, made you see that the tension that you were carrying was going to get transformed?
Yes. The tension for me came within the space of being among a group of people. One of the things that I thought was brilliant and worked so well was when we had a group project. Because when you join a cohort, you don't know these people.
Mm.
You're from all from different parts of the world,
Yeah.
different assumptions, different cultures, all of that. And sitting to work in a group with each other and doing our team coach simulations, even in being a member of the group, you had your own thoughts and you were like, okay, how do I put this across? Or
Mm.
how do I tell someone this thing that you're doing is holding us back?
Mm.
And so we went through the internal experience of frustration, irritation, maybe not holding back on what you want to say until we ourselves started to recognize we're doing this thing that is holding us back. And that was the
Mm.
breakthrough for us when we started to talk to each other about it openly. And the same thing happens in teams. And I believe that that experience of sitting in tension, sitting in frustration, sitting in irritation, also allowed us to transcend that now so that when we're out there as team coaches, honestly, I don't even feel it in my body. I don't
Mm.
feel that irritation. I'm able to see people as whole. You know, we say they're whole people, they're fully capable of being this team that they want to be. I don't need to fix them. And the other part of it too is the tension internally. So there are two sides of the tension. There's the tension of, ooh, this thing is happening in the team. How do I deal with it? And then there is the internal tension of when you hear your own biases and preferences
Mm.
pop up in your head, or your own thoughts, or for someone like me who I come from a training background, which is far more directive. And so I have
Mm.
to tap into different versions of myself and be very aware of what is serving the client. And so there's that tension of presence and
Mm.
asking yourself, hey, what part of me serves this team right now? And being very aware. And the more I do it, the more adept I become at it. You know, it's kind of like being in a boat and letting go of the oars and saying, okay, I have the oar right there, but I don't always have to be rowing the boat.
Mm. I think it again ties back into having the confidence to just sit in the discomfort, you know.
Yes.
Uh, I remember I was on a call with Janet, and one of the things that came up, I believe, was she asked someone a question and they sat in silence for I think about 6 minutes. I can't imagine sitting like before I came to Invite Change and I joined as the chief marketing officer. I couldn't even imagine myself sitting for more than 30 seconds, just with a question.
Yeah.
6 minutes is eternity, but that just goes to underscore the importance of
Yes.
sit in the tension. The
Yeah.
transformation's right at the edge of it, right?
Yeah.
Do you have,
I think
please go ahead.
another part of that sitting in the tension is the silence,
Hmm.
because sometimes people are silent. And that silence, automatically, we assume the silence means resistance. But sometimes that silence is they need space to process. They've
Mm-hmm.
never been given this space to really think about it or even verbalize it. And
Yeah.
so it's rethinking and reshaping what communication looks like. Communication is not always talking. You know, it's like you see two birds sitting on a fence together. They're quiet, but they're communicating. Just as with us humans, they are people we love and we sit with them in silence,
Yeah.
but that silence has communication in it. So what I love about it, it's people discovering, oh, there are other ways to communicate, or wait, people will give me time to think. You know, what happens if this occurs? And so there's that beautiful part of team coaching where, yes, you learn some frameworks, right? In our case, we learn a principle because the
Mm.
frameworks can hold you back if you become so attached to
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Then you place an assumption on the team or you put them in a straitjacket
Yeah.
and you don't
Yeah.
leave space for them to play and really start to discover parts of themselves, and even for you as a coach to discover them. So I love the experimental part of team coaching in that way.
I think it's a brilliant way of putting it. And there are many organizations, where people do feel like they've been put in a straitjacket, or if they don't respond or immediately, people would think less of them. And, it's really about tearing down that thinking, that thought process, and just, letting people think on their own terms and come out with the best possible response.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned principles. My next question brings me to that. How has the experience equipped you to work more effectively with organizations and teams that you're coaching? Are there any specific principles, approaches that you're taking? Any examples, so our viewers can sort of understand what you've been getting into since that's been creating change?
Yeah. inviteCHANGE operates with generative wholeness. And the funny thing is, at the start, even before I joined, I was like, what is this generative wholeness thing? What is generative? And it never even occurred to me, as someone who's a huge reader, that this is just a normal word. It's not a woo-woo word. And it came back to my philosophy of let people be, like let them express themselves.
Mhm.
Let them get to show the parts of themselves that they are often afraid to show. I have been blessed to grow up in such a way that I've been able to be who I am. The confidence that I have, the courage that I have, these sorts of things were instilled in me and were nurtured. And I was given the space to do that. And I believe that's what generative wholeness is about. Often in organizations, we put people into boxes. There's also the feeling that being a professional means not laughing, not
Yeah.
smiling in a meeting, being so serious and stoic. I saw a quote that said, imagine being in a meeting and never smiling. And then we talk about we want people to have joy at work. And so for me, the generative wholeness part of it allows people to bring the parts of themselves that allow them to feel good at work, that allows them to bring out their best performance, bring out their potential, their creativity, for them to be able to negotiate what they need to perform well so that people can balance well-being and performance. And so with the organizations that I work with, I have been introducing team coaching. I've been educating about team coaching. I've had the honor of being able to coach teams, and I just this week landed a contract to do group coaching with a bank. The typical
Congratulations.
intervention, thank you. The typical intervention would have been, let's do training, right? Because I had done some focus groups, etc., out of another project that they had. And I said, let's try this thing called group coaching, where we give managers the space to flesh out for themselves how they want to be and how they want to figure out things like emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, situational communication, psychological safety. So instead of me just telling them this is what it is, what do you want it to be? And how does it show up with you and your teams so that they create their new reality, which increases their likelihood of living it? So I love that about it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Again, congratulations on landing the new gig. It's exciting to take a different approach, one that's away from the traditional that's out there, because it's already peaked out. There's no more improvement. It just keeps the thing flatlined a little longer, instead of just, hitting the switch. So I think these new approaches, generative wholeness was already there, always there, but somewhere along the line, people just seem to forget. They get too busy. They get too sucked into a fast way of doing things that they forget to slow down.
Yeah. And to be fair to them, capitalist society makes it that way, where we
That's
get up
true.
every morning, we have bills to pay. So sometimes, as much as you would like to slow down, the reality is that
Of course,
there
of
is a
course.
bill or many bills waiting for you. But what I love about coaching too is coaching really at the end of the day, outside of all of the definitions and jargon, it's really a call to come home to yourself,
Hmm.
and you get a chance to reconfigure the home. You're not dealing with concrete walls to smash or dry wood or anything. You imagine it, you can shift it around and add willpower to that and courage you can create the feeling that you want for your life. And similarly with
Absolutely.
teams, they can create, I tell teams, it's not about what problems you have. It's what do you want? What do you want to live in? What do you want your future to be? What is your potential? What is your reality that you want for this team? Of course, some problems are going to pop up in the conversation,
Yep.
but it's not about something is wrong with you. It's about what do you want and what has been blocking you from accessing this.
It's not a coaching conversation if some problems don't arise.
Yeah.
So my next question to you is, everyone that goes through our programs, I mean, they experience some sort of transformation. They will put it in their own words. We've been hearing presence a lot. I want to know, what was your, who was Karel before and who is Karel now? What have you seen shift in you as a coach and as a leader?
What has shifted in me? I think it has opened up. It's like, you're going through caves, and in each cave there are treasures, but some of them, they're behind a rock. And so one of the big things for me in this program was being able to truly explore my intuition. I have a gift for intuition. When I do assessments, I always tell people assessments are not your identity, but they do give you information about yourself. And it always says, yeah, discernment, intuition, these are all strengths that you have. But one of the things that I've also been taught is knowledge is in books, right? Knowledge is in telling. And now it was learning that there's knowledge in being, there's knowledge in sensing, there's knowledge in perceiving. And so for me, it has been a journey of turning the book, opening up more, exploring those caves, and pulling out that intuition even more. And not just pulling it out, but trusting it because it's there already, right? It's, am I listening to it? Do I know how to listen to it? And how does it serve my client? How do I also support my clients with tapping into their own intuition, whether it's as an individual or as a team? What is that thing that they know deep in their bones that nobody is saying? Or they may be afraid to voice it and then do something about it. So the transformation for me was really deepening. And I think it goes back to generative wholeness, right? Deepening what was already there, expanding it, being able to be almost like a superhero who knows, hey, I have this gift, but now I know how to leverage it. I know how to use it in different ways. And that has been really expansive for me. And more than that, it has also helped me to feel a deeper sense of calm, a deeper sense of surety in the decisions that I make and how I want to feel in this life. Because at the end of the day, we are mortal human beings, and there's a real life aspect alongside being a coach. So I have really enjoyed it. It's been a space to be poured into. As somebody who's a trainer, I'm always pouring into other people. My personality is the type that I pour into others. I'm very generous. And so I love this space where every week for 2 hours, this space helps me to deepen knowledge about myself and then learn how to use that to serve other people and then create that balance of ensuring that, things are not imbalanced where I'm overgiving and then I can't serve other people because there's a part of it too of taking care of myself.
What a beautiful way of putting it. I absolutely love it. And you've got me so excited with this picture you've painted. It's refreshing, and I can't wait for us to help more people feel the same.
Yes.
Now, if you were to talk to some other coaches or organizations that have been thinking about invite change, what message would you like to give them from your experience?
Choosing invite change is a no-brainer. There's no question that the education is strong, it's robust, it's stimulating, it's enjoyable. It's, it grows your wisdom. But more than that, it really creates a space for you to focus on yourself. It's a time where, to me, the world stops for 2 hours or however long a class is. And in that moment, you are refueling yourself. I know as someone who, at first, when I saw sometimes the time frames, I would say, ooh, so much time. But honestly, to become a master at what you do, and mastery is a continuous journey, but to really deepen and expand your skill set, there has to be an investment. And in this case, the investment is time. And when you enter it, you realize, oh my gosh, I want to stay here. Send me down the rabbit hole. And I think invite change, it also helps the principles. It helps people to start to feel stronger internally. You feel stronger internally. You can't control what's happening on the outside, what's happening in the economy, what's happening in the world, but it strengthens the individuals, whether they're managers, officers, executives. It strengthens their capacity to now trust their intuition, harness collective intelligence, as well as collective intuition. It builds self-trust. And if we build self-trust in people, then they are able to build trust among themselves because they're coming to each other as a more open, stronger, intuitive version of themselves. And that ultimately strengthens the organization's resilience to deal with whatever is out there. So invite change. I would go to the top of a mountain and tell everyone, come to invite change.
Thank you. We really appreciate that reflection. Could you tell us what programs you were enrolled in?
Yeah. The first program I was enrolled in was team coaching, generative team coaching. And I used to call it semesters. So we had first semester, second semester, and third semester. And that first semester part of it really focused on the generative principles and team coaching. Carl Franco was the lead delivery facilitator for this. And Carl is amazing. He's supportive. He's also very much challenging and gives you the space to become the team coach who you are. There's what I love about Invite Change too is that it's a safe space. There are so many diverse people from different countries, people of different ethnicities, and I feel completely comfortable in this space. As a Caribbean person, I have a different mindset. I grew up in a space where I am a majority. And so sometimes, and to be frank about the world, sometimes you enter coaching spaces where you're not sure that you can just be because there are not a lot of people who look like you. There are not a lot of people who understand you or even, think about where you come from. And at Invite Change, I would meet someone from India, from America, from England, from Japan, from China. And it's wonderful because it expands your mind and it also makes you feel completely comfortable to let your walls down and to be open, to be vulnerable, to get whatever it is that you need from the experience. And so for me, I love that about it.
Brilliant. I feel like if you're learning with a global peer group, it makes global coaching or serving global clients a lot easier because you're able to learn things, you're able to ask questions. I mean, there are so many nationalities in the world that it would take a lifetime for one person to understand everyone. And it's a unique opportunity that just allows you to bring the walls down, as you said, and just be and experience different people. Before we wrap up, I want you to tell us what's next for you. Where are you taking your practice? What kind of clients are you serving? So if anyone who's watching, if they need any support, how can they reach out to you? What are your areas of expertise? Please give us everything.
Okay. So I am integrating coaching with the work that I've done previously, as well as the work that I'm creating moving forward. So I've started blending coaching methodology, even in training engagements, creating more space for reflection. I offer communication training, whether it's public speaking, emotional intelligence, business writing, teams. And so this experience with Invite Change has strengthened and deepened the length and breadth of what I'm able to play with clients. I mean, just before talking to you, I had a lunch and learn with a human resources team, looking at what does supportive communication look like for them, and using imagery to help support bringing out ideas and thoughts and feelings. So for me, moving forward, it really is integrating coaching with training. And then there's a standalone coaching that I do with leaders, with individuals, those people who want to do personal coaching. I'm also doing more group coaching as an option with clients, as opposed to pure training, so that we invite more space for them to create even more meaning. Yes, in training, there is space for reflection, there is space for meaning making, but this is more tapping into their wholeness and their ability to be more. So my next step really is deepening my original commitment to helping people find their personal power through communication. And at the end of the day, how you communicate goes back to who you are. And coaching fundamentally helps teams, individuals, and organizations figure out who do they want to be in the world and how do they want to feel. So for anyone who wants to talk to me, zero pressure. It really is about anything communication oriented, anything how people interact with each other. That's me. Emotional intelligence, public speaking. I love everything voice. Finding your voice is also part of it. The way you speak, the tone of voice that you use, finding the musicality in your voice, that's another love of mine. So these are the areas that I'm working in moving forward. And this entire experience with Invite Change has strengthened my belief in myself to offer this. Not that I didn't believe I could, but I think it really honors the integrity and the responsibility that I believe I have to my clients, to come to them. They come to me, believing that Karel is wise, Karel is a sage. They look to me to help them. And I know that I am doing the work to ensure that I'm fully capable of doing that.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. I will have your contact information. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. Otherwise, on every other platform, she's going to be tagged. So please feel free to check her profile out. Just want to thank you for such a beautiful session.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this chat with you, Ahmad.